computer. All right, everyone, we are really honored right now between me and Wade to have a legend in occultism with us. Way before Wade and I were doing Magic TV, there was a voice, there was a man, a myth. He had the Guild of Sorcery Facebook page for years. He had his own podcast going on where I heard when I learned the term snockered by him. And then he even contributed into literary work of occultism, such as his pragmatic magics and even the Aaron Leitch's ritual offerings. So without any further ado, we are honored to have on magic.tv the legendary Brother Moloch. Brother Moloch, how are you today? Hey guys, he's alive. Stop saying this guy's dead. He's alive. We're happy to have him. Brother Moloch, welcome to the show.
Hey, how you doing, guys?
Welcome.
How's everybody out there?
Doing great. A lot has happened
since
you and I last talked. Magic.tv is a blast. I've been wanting to get you on it for years now. But you know what, Moloch? We're here, and thank you. Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. This is my dear friend and co-host, Wade Long. He's been one of my best friends, if not my best friend in Magic since I was 15. And we're just going to interview you and ask you some questions about you, about how you got into Magic. And we're more importantly going to ask you about what started Brother Moloch, his page, which is still around up today. And then the next thing we're going to ask you is your current events. What do you think about occultism today? You know what I mean? I'm so excited because I feel like George Carlin came back to life and I can interview him. And of course, the last part, he got the reference. And the last part, which is the best part, and please, Moloch, do not disappoint us with this one, is Occultex. Occultex is the last part of the segment where you teach us, the viewers, something. So without further ado, welcome, Brother Moloch. So tell us about you, Brother Moloch. How did it all start for the legend, Brother Moloch?
Really, a lot of it began when I was a grandchild growing up with my grandmother. I'd hear the ghost stories from her. She was really gifted with clairvoyance, and a lot of times when the power would go out, I'd sit around and listen to her talk about family ghosts. She had the gift of second sight, and she'd talk about seeing things, and at first I thought she was a little loony. But, as I'd start to hear these things, and then, hear other people in the family say, yeah, her predictions were spot on. And I thought, really? And, when she was like, she would work the Ouija board, or she would, make predictions be based on things that she saw or that happened. I looked at my family members and I said, really? And they said, yeah, Grandma knows her stuff. And that was it for me. And I was like, okay. So I started asking, I was like, is Grandma a witch? And they say, oh no, Grandma's not, but Grandma knows things. And so she just understood spirits. They just came naturally to her. She had that gift of second sight. And I never really, I couldn't pin down whether she had the call, on her face when she was born or something, but she just had that gift. And so I took an interest in it, and I read Sybil Leek's Diary of a Witch at 12. And then when I got older, I found Buckland's Big Blue Book. And that kind of put the thing into it, because Jesus never really did anything for me growing up as a Christian. That whole mythology it was always hollow for me. And it was mainly for the guilt. I always felt guilty about everything. And then when I found paganism, the ancestors, the pagan gods and all of that, it opened up a lot for me. It made me feel at home. And I realized there's a lot of occultists out there now who find solace in the Solomonic belief system and Kabbalah, and they find much solace in working with the saints and stuff. And I find that's fine. But I like to remind people that pagan gods are the saints of other religions. Okay? Gene used to remind people of that. He'd say, you have to remember, the old gods are the saints of those religions. So don't talk down about them. We have to remember that. And the ancestors of those faiths are still alive and they listen. So it's always good to respect them. And you never know, because of all the various hominid species that have lived, who is related to whom.
Mhm.
We cannot say we like to say today, oh, we're a part of this tribe, we're part of that tribe. But realistically, if you start studying ancient hominids, folks, we're all interbred somewhere. And guess what? We are all part of various species and tribes, Neanderthals, Denisovans, probably Homo floresiensis, Homo naledi. I mean, there's a lot of ancient tribes out there that we're all as part of, not just Homo sapiens. So our ancestors go back hundreds of thousands of years. So don't look down upon ancient people. The Solomonic, remember the Solomonic stuff and all these religious things, they're iconography, and it's useful. It's useful, but don't just give it your own, don't give it just your sole attention, is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm.
Okay. Focus, focus more on respect, and keep an open mind for ancestors and gods and goddesses of other faiths too. Even if you don't believe in them or have respect for them, they're there. And remember something, the ancients did revere them.
Mhm.
But so that's how I kind of got into it, because once I started working with them, I realized, hey, this stuff works,
Mhm.
and I got results. So that's what I try to tell my students and friends. I'd say, if you can't get results with, like, say, it's like using ammonia. If you can't get results from removing stains with ammonia, then stop using that. Maybe try a little bleach with some
Mhm.
water, or start using different things till you get what find that works. And a lot of this, when I started out, there wasn't a lot of teachers. So I had to do a lot like a lot of people did. I had to use, trial and experiment, trial and error. And I did it cautiously. And as I started learning, I noticed that the spirits were paying attention to me. And more as I practiced and I read and I studied, and that what I did was I just practiced and attempted, and sometimes I'd burn my fingers, other times I didn't.
Amazing.
So,
All right, now I have a question. You've written some books. One of my favorite is Pragmatic Magics or Sorcery. I forgot the name. I'm a lot older now. But at the same time, I was a very big fan of your old podcast where you would interview way before me and Wade were doing it. You would go on like Blog Talk Radio and interview some of the whole occultists. And of course, your Moloch Sorcery website is a gem. I mean, it's always been there. It's something that we've all looked up to. What made you take that route? What made you take your self-publishing route and putting up that website? What were some of the inspirations to make you do that, Brother Moloch?
well, originally I didn't think about publishing anything.
Mhm.
When I joined the Guild of Sorcery back in 1990, I was just like everybody else, looking for information that was realistic.
Mhm.
And I met a couple of people on there, and Ramsey, there was a guy named Ramsey, and let's see, who else was it? Dark Star Sorcery. Her real name was Diane Gill. She
Mhm.
was out of Miami. And then there was Syrinx. Can't think of her real name. She was she was really interesting. Her husband was a submarine commander who worked for the U.S. Navy, and she started practicing because she said, I have all this free time, because she said half the time he's under ice in the North Atlantic. So she said I would get to chat with her. And so we would all sit online and just, throw ideas out at one another. And so, you know, I was tossing out ideas about herbs, because at the time I was into Cunningham,
Yeah.
and I picked up Cunningham, and so they started saying, "Have you tried Paul Barrow's book?" And then a friend of mine gave me the Reader's Digest book on magical herbs,
Mhm.
and that helped out a lot because it had color plates of herbs in the wild. So then I said, "Ooh, let's go use this." And so I started hunting herbs in the wild. And then when I could bring them home fresh and play with them, that started amping up my game because instead of having to go to and hunt down metaphysical stores, I could go out and find stuff in the wild. And then I started talking to the plants out there. Go ahead.
Yeah, Wade, if you don't mind, I mean, sorry, Moloch, your camera is like we're only seeing the top of your head. There
Oh,
you go. There you go.
sorry about
Perfect.
that. Yeah,
No
I'm having to
problem.
hold it because yeah, I'm having to charge the having to charge it. I was up late last night partying and playing a little Star Trek on for a little bit, and then I was playing killing Death Claws and Fallout. So
Oh,
you
yeah,
know,
sound like a guy. All right. The next thing I want to ask you is this. I remember that in all the years I'd follow you, you would preach about new avatar power. I remember that one. Jeffrey
yeah,
Cobb's new
yeah,
avatar power. And I remember you said one time that like if you're not going to follow it to the T, don't freaking improvise. Just follow it as it's told. Is there a
yeah.
reason why you pushed that approach?
Well, because it was a simplistic. I mean, it was a simplistic system in and of itself. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
one of my teachers, Ron Parsley, was a pagan and a Kabbalist, and Ron used to preach this. He always said the Simon Necronomicon will work. He said because it's consistent in and of itself, and he said any system will work if it's consistent in and of itself.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's what you need to look at. You know, like he used to say, take any simple book on magic that an author writes, and he said, if that system is consistent of itself, he said, meaning it doesn't have to go outside of itself. Okay. You write a system in and of itself and it's consistent, then it should work. And I said, okay. Now, the thing of it is, as he said, you should have some kind of juju that you can rely on, you know, like being able to amp up your chakras or, you know, something like that to bring the juice in and to power that system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The new avatar had a method for that. Remember, it had the you know, it had the middle pillar.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, it had the rest of it that would you know, bring the you know, power up the fountain spray and all of that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's why that system worked. Okay, a lot of other systems out there don't work because they don't offer you a method to power it up. They just give you a book. They tell you, here's some spells. This is how you do it, but they don't give you a method to power it up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. New Avatar did all of that. Jeff gave you everything from point A to point B. Plus, he gave you explanations, and the other thing I liked about it was from a from a total novice standpoint, guys. He took you he took you and just said, here's some examples on how you should use it. And even those are, you know, let's face it, those examples are all fake. I don't believe a damn one of them.
Mm-hmm.
However, they were written to give you some hope and inspiration. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a case point. I had a friend of mine named Jay Moon. Lives back in Mansfield, Ohio. Jay's passed on. Okay. But years and years ago, back in the late 70s, when that book came out, Jay's had a friend of his gave it to him, and Jay got rear-ended by a cop and in his car. And so what happened was Jay did a chant in there for money, and within a week he got $500 from the police department
Mm-hmm.
in a case for that. And it came to him within a week. Now in late 70s, $500 was a big chunk of change,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't a whole lot of damage to his vehicle. But he needed that money, and he told me later, he says, man, rocks. And I said, really? So I had to call him and find out the name of it. He couldn't remember. He thought it was the Savage Powers or something like that. And I had to go and look it up. But, you know, that's how I found it.
Mm-hmm.
And my little brother had told me about it. And he goes, yeah, Jay used some kind of manual back then. So that's how I found it. And when I looked it up and everything, and I said, oh, okay, this is the book. And so I researched it, and that's how I got a hold of it. And it was consistent in and of itself, all the way
I
up
always
even to
love
the
when
magic
people
minted.
discover magic for the first time. When
Yeah.
they do the first time they do something that really works. I love it. I had a friend that when I had my store, he wanted to know what medicine bags were. So I said, okay, well, we'll put together one for you. What would you like? He says, well, I want something to get me laid. Like, of course you do. So I set out things. Okay, pick one of these out of each of these things. You need 7 items in this. Just picks, and he puts it in, puts some oil on it, and off he goes. So about 1 o'clock in the morning, I get a call from him. Magic is fucking awesome. I'm like, there it is.
Yeah.
There it is. So that was neat. But I love the look on their face when they're just like, oh, this is a whole game changer for them. I
You know,
love
one thing
that.
Wade, I'll give you a better one. Wade, well, not better, but let me give you a similar one to that, Wade. You guys will like this. I had a couple friends of mine. They had issues getting pregnant. Okay, just a couple I knew back. This was '93, and I told them, I said, "Well, you sure you want to get pregnant?" "Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We want to get pregnant. We want to get pregnant." And these are friends of my wife and I. I was like, okay, okay. Because they came to me, begging for this. And I said, you sure? Yeah, yep, yep, okay. Because I always make sure about this kind of stuff. As I tell them, I
Yeah.
say, sometimes nature, yeah, because, sometimes nature, is a blessing. Well, I told them, I said, you got to go to a metaphysical store. And I said, buy a green penis candle. And they were like, what? And I said, buy a green penis candle. And so the wife's like, I guess I says, no, I says, both of you. So they went to the store together and bought one. And then I told them I said, get a bottle of High John oil. And so they did, brought it to me. And I jujued it up for them and loaded it up. And then, and everything, and gave it to them. And I told them what they had to do. I said, you got to light this thing every night. And I said, and I said, you got to have sex while this thing's burning. And they're like, oh, we can do that. And I says, by the 7th day, I said, you'll be pregnant. Hell, by the 3rd day, she was pregnant. She
Right
was
on.
pregnant. She woke up that morning vomiting and stuff. And she went to go see the doctor. And sure enough, she was pregnant. She was like, what'd you do? And I said, what you asked for, woman. And then, it's like later though. Sadly though, their daughter did have what do you call it? She was a special needs kid, but I apologized. But I told them, I said, and they said, no, 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 it's okay. We love her. We love her. We still want her. I said, yeah, that's why I said, because the reading I did prior, I said, because I was worried about that. And they said, I told them, I said, it may not be good. And they said, no, 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 we want the baby anyway. And I said, all right. That's when I jujued up the candle. And I said, maybe we not. And the baby did have a special needs issue, but Raven's a full grown adult now. She's healthy and everything, gone to college. So sometimes, nature is done things like that. So.
Which can bring me to my next question, Moloch, if you don't mind, because
Go ahead.
I'm just eager to pick your
I don't
mind.
mean to ramble either, guys. I'm sorry about that.
We're ready for the rambling. We love it. All right, we love it. Okay, a lot has happened since the last time you and I actually got to talk years ago. Back in the day, you had the Blog Talk Radio page, and I loved it, and I learned the word snockered from you.
What page?
You had like this Blog Talk Radio show. And I remember one time I listened to it was like your last episode of your podcast before you stopped.
Oh, okay.
And then I said, oh yeah, you had some voodoo guy there, like this green butterfly guy. And you were like, oh, so you only listened because he was there and not because I was giving content. But the thing is, between now and then, a lot has happened in the occult world. We've got occult stuff all over Facebook, Instagram, TikTok. We have nightmares called witch talk. We've got magelings getting into magic that they don't know what they're fucking doing with. People watering down ancient practices just to sell 99-cent books. I wanted to ask you, Brother Moloch, what is your opinion on the state of occultism today?
Water will reach its own level.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's, let's put it this way. People will seek the garbage they're going to seek. Let's face it. Do people out there eat junk food?
Yeah.
How much junk food does the average person worldwide consume? Think about that.
Mm-hmm.
Over nutritious food, healthy nutrition. Think about all the channels out there. I know you two watch some good healthy shows where they teach you how to eat good food, and it takes like what 20 to 30 minutes to make,
Mm-hmm.
and it's healthy and it's delicious, but it's quick and easy to open up a bag of something that's already made, like Doritos or something. And I mean, yeah, we all like a bag of Doritos now and then. However, 10, 20 minutes to make a steak roll up. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's people like us that like to make something that's healthy and delicious, but then there's folks out there that all they want to consume is junk food.
Mm-hmm.
If that's all they want to consume, well, guess what? They're not going to be the efficient practitioners they want to be.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Shortcuts don't get the work done. I don't care what people say. There's a lot of guys out there pretending that they have holy guardian angels. They pretending that they have head spirits. They're pretending that they have, power that they don't have. And they didn't go about acquiring it properly. Okay? There's proper ways to get it, and there's improper ways. And improper ways do not work. I know, I've tried.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't work. Because if it did, you can make pacts with spirits. Yes. Okay. And when you make pacts with spirits, you have to abide what the spirit wants. Some of these guys, they get the wrong idea about this stuff. They really do. They try to write a 99-cent booklet on how to make a deal with a spirit and how to make a friend with it. And it's like, no, you don't. Look, they become your comrade for a time. Okay. And when I say comrade, it agrees to focus and help you, but it does not agree to ward you from everything, i.e., from your own stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
That is the key. No spirit is going to ward you from your own stupidity, regardless of what you think. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Health-wise, my spirits didn't protect me from my own stupidity.
Mm-hmm.
My health declined because of my own dumbness. If I don't take care of my health myself, well, I mean, let me give you an example. If I climb on the back of a rice rocket motorcycle and go down the road 180 mile an hour, my spirit's not going to protect me.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. I could have 20 head spirits on me. They're not going to protect me. That's not their job. They didn't sign up for that. I have the control of the throttle. I do, not them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? If you're driving down the road in a car and you're flying down there, who has the control of the throttle and the steering wheel? You do, not the spirits. They're in the back of your head. You're in the front.
Mm-hmm.
You're driving. See, this is where people get the wrong idea. You take your medicine, not them. Okay? You hold the gun. You wield the knife, not them. Everyone thinks it's something else. The devil makes you do it. No, genius. You do that. You do that. That old thing of that old case BS about the devil made me do it. That's all BS.
Mm-hmm.
You do it, right, Wade?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, they can try to protect you if you're out rock climbing without a harness or anything.
Yeah.
And it's like,
Yeah.
okay, they're trying to protect you, but at the end of the day, they can't make you fly. If you
Right.
slip and fall
Right.
off there just because you didn't take care of yourself, they may
Bingo.
be able to turn you on your way down so you don't die, but you could be all
Or
messed up.
advise you, say, reach over there and grab that.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Which brings me to
you get what I'm saying, Wade. It's like, before you climb on the back of that Rice Rocket motorcycle, they may say that might not be a brilliant idea. You're a little drunk right now.
Yeah.
I've had them say that to me. It's like that's not a bright thing. Don't get in the car with that guy. He's not. And I'd be going, okay, I don't want to ride with you right at the moment. I'm going to take a cab. I've had them tell me that.
Yep.
They'll give
That
you
happens
advice
a
like
lot.
that.
You
Yeah,
get that
they'll give you
thing in the
advice
back of your
like
head saying,
that, or
don't turn here. Turn, go a few more blocks and turn, and then you find out there's a huge accident that you would have been right in the middle of. You got to listen to that intuition.
Yep. And they will feed that intuition properly.
Which brings me to my next question, Moloch. I'd like to ask you this. Since you've given that good statement that the water will rise, based on what you've observed from the sidelines, would you say that we're leaning towards more genuine practitioners in the practice or more junk practitioners in this day and age?
Well, I think it's coming back. I mean, look, it's like I'll give you an example. Nature abhors a vacuum. Okay, look at what's happening in Florida, for example, with the animals. Okay, we had an invasive species of boa constrictors. They're killing off a lot of the wildlife down there. Well, for like 20 years, all of a sudden now nature's fighting back. Alligators are starting to kill them. The lynx is coming in. Bobcats are starting to kill them back. Bears, other things. Nature fights back. It abhors a vacuum. It'll be the same way with occultists. The idiot occultists will leave because once they start to realize that their psychology doesn't work to the effect that they think they're hoping it does, they'll learn that psychology only grants them so much, and it doesn't grant them the real metaphysical that they're hoping for. Okay, because to get to the metaphysical, they're going to have to get into the spiritual, and if they don't believe in the spiritual and they just believe in the psychology, then the two shall not meet. Okay, so they will back out and pursue other things. They will leave the occult. And these people, that they will fall by the wayside. The real spiritual people will continue on and pursue the occult, and these will be the folks who will follow in our footsteps.
Amen.
These will be the next generation of real practitioners who will take up the gauntlets, who will take up our books, and who will take up, the real practices and say, hey, this is what our forebears meant. And this is what we think that, should be going down today. That's what I think is going to happen, because I don't think that it's going to fall by the wayside. I think the real work will continue and is continuing. I just think that the real practitioners are out there like us, like we were when, our forebears were out there worrying about all the junk that was going out when they were around. And we were, studiously doing our thing in the, in candlelight in the basements. And they didn't know about us.
Would you like to ask Moloch anything while we have him? Because this is a once in a lifetime opportunity, even for me.
Oh, this is great. I'm having a great time with this. Now you said you lived in Florida at the time?
Yeah. Yeah. Tampa, Clearwater, and West Palm.
Amazing. You ever have any experience with like Palo Mayombe or any of the Afro-Cuban traditions down there?
No, not till I met Jean. And I met Jean through a friend of mine. She was living in St. Augustine, and she ran into him through another friend that she met through Orlando. But the other folks that down there, no, I'd stayed away from the African traditions because a lot of my ancestors were trying to push me to that way. But, Wade, as well as I do, there's a lot of folks in those that are, well, you got to be careful, even in witchcraft and stuff. You got to be careful of who you get involved with in covens and groups and stuff. And so I was always, as a lone wolf, I was always like, even when I got with the folks in Tampa, I was very standoffish because I didn't know who to trust. I started to trust one group, and then I met a guy that was I met a young kid that I thought, well, we all started to take him under a wing, and then we found out he molested a young girl in the group. So it was like, yeah, you see, and then it was just like, oh Christ, so, you back off, and then you think, what the hell, and you get the police involved in it, and then it makes the whole unit, everybody involved, look bad.
Oh, yeah.
So you don't want to get involved in that. So it's just kind of like, so I didn't want to get involved in any groups, and and the Afro-Caribbean stuff, I didn't know Spanish, and I really didn't know anyone. And the couple of Mexican fellas, I knew that down there, anytime I mentioned anything, they did back up. Oh, no, dude, that's evil. And I was like, okay, amigo, I won't bring that up. So that was the only, that was the only thing I couldn't meet anybody. So.
Yeah.
And the stores I went into, none of them would talk to you.
I'd also like to ask though, you have a very, very historic website, which many of us have gone to. I mean, I cannot.
Well, it's no longer up now.
Yeah, that's the thing. It was almost as relevant as the old occult forums and stuff like that, where everybody got something valuable because of your input there. And my question is, do you have any intention of bringing that back, or do you think that that's already run its course?
Well, I thought it ran its course. I thought about putting it back up, but if I do, I'd have to put it someplace free, because I just can't afford it was costing me quite a bit of money to have it up free. And I had it up free because I didn't want to have it up with ads, because that looks so hokey.
Yeah.
And I wanted to have it up as a resource for folks, but nobody was, and to have it up, I was having to do public work for folks. So that was originally why I started doing work for everybody. And then it kind of just blossomed into helping folks and on a regular basis. And then, regular clients. And then next thing I know, when I decided to shut it down after I decided just to leave the net and retire, I still have most of it, but I shut down Builder Spot where I had it, and then I don't know where to put it. That's the thing. I had one of the guys that knew me online. He actually, I don't know, what do you call it? You're a techie, Rob.
Yeah.
He did something where he folded it up somehow.
He zipped it up.
What do you call that? Thank you. Zipped it up for me.
Yeah.
He zipped it up into a file, and he goes, "Here, Moloch," and it's like, I don't know, 5 or 6 gigs. And he says, I said, "What's this?" He goes, "It's all zipped up for you." And I'm like, he goes, "Don't unzip it unless you're ready to put it somewhere." So,
did you ever think about taking the content of that and like just putting it into a publication and like Brother Moloch's best works, and like have it as something like a PDF to be purchased or anything like that?
Well, it might be in the future. I got contacted by the local Cleveland Buckland Museum, the local Cleveland Buckland Witchcraft Museum, and they want my library because I don't need it anymore. So I was going to give it to a witchcraft school down in Kentucky, and she's friends with this museum up here in Cleveland near where I live. So they want my books, and so I'm just going to give them, it's like almost 40 years of collecting. And so I'm going to give them my books and probably most of my stuff. I mean, good grief. I live in a small 1-bedroom apartment now, and I all my stuff's in a storage unit down in Mansfield. And I mean, it's like, it costs me a ton of money every month just to keep it. So I might as well just donate it all, and it'll be in a museum. And yeah, that includes my work table and my staffs and, almost all my accoutrements. So and it'll be yeah, my granddaughter can, she can go, if anything she really wants, they said she can go get it. So I'm leaving her some choice books and a couple of things for her to have when she gets older. Right now she's only like 4, but when she gets older, she can have some of Grandpa's stuff. But that's about all I can do. Just leave a few things, and I'm leaving them that. And then they're willing to publish anything that I haven't published yet. So, and I've got a few books that I haven't published. So,
Well, same thing with us. If ever you'd like to have your work run, we can, like I did with Wade's book, Acolyte. I'd love to do a limited copy of anything you'd like because you're a true legend in the practice. We could talk about that. That would be a real honor for us to have you as one of our authors that just to run your stuff to reach it to a new audience. Because I wanted to ask you, who are some of the most inspirational authors in occultism that got Moloch to where he is?
ooh, oh wow. I would have to say originally, well, one of the guys I got to talking to that was inspiration was Don Michael Craig.
Yeah.
I talked to him on the phone. Don was helpful. I got the chance to talk with him on the phone, and I actually got a chance to meet Don too in person at a Starwood conference. He came and sat in my tent, and we drank a Mr. Pibb together. He was like, "Oh my God, Mr. Pibb, I haven't had that in 20 years," and we sat and shot the breeze. And I took one of his classes, and then that was right after I gave my class on Sorcery 101. And then, see, one was it? Him, and then who else was it? I really liked that. Stu Farrer, I liked him a lot, I have to say. And I probably have to say one of my biggest influence would be Tarot Star. Yeah, Tarot Star. I like Tarot Star. There's a lot about that man. He's very forthcoming. He tells you like it is. You know, he's a witch and a sorcerer of tells you like it is. He doesn't hold back. And the other thing I liked about him is he talks in rhyme. He gives you spells in rhyme. I've never been able to rhyme as good as that man, but I tell you what, his spells are just killer in rhyme, man. And if you like rhyming spells, which I do, I think they're just so cool because they just, ever since listening to Bubble, Bubble, Toil and Trouble, that old thing as a kid, that's always been cool. So
yeah, there's a whole magic to poetry because it's not quite music, but it will sit and flow, and it'll get you go. It gets you a different cadence. It puts you in a whole different mindset. And then there's all the different forms of poetry. Like you could do something in, regular, doublets or or a quatrain. You could even have a villanelle. They have stuff with a complex pattern in them, and it just it weaves it. You're weaving the words into a fabric.
Wait, have you ever put on some of your favorite music, and it's like, and you can even take a chant that you made it yourself, even if it's something that doesn't make a whole lot of sense, and you can find the cadence in the music and just start saying that over and over to the point where you get lost in this trance, if you will, until it becomes unintelligible. And all of a sudden, 40 minutes later, you come out of it and it's like, and you're like, wow, and a few days later, you get a phone call or something, and then the spell you just done, a few days ago, where you did this whole working like I just described, worked, and you're going, wow.
Oh yeah,
that's amazing. That's
like
so
cool. I've taken songs that I like, and I'll change the lyrics to be a spell, and then every time you're hearing that song after that. In your head, it's casting that spell again.
Yeah, so it's like taking your power music and turning it almost into barbarous words so that the power from the music is fueled with the gobbledygook and it turns you into a trance state. And now the music that originally gave you power is now literally being fueled by magical words. That's epic.
Oh yeah. That's almost like a chaos magic technique I've seen, and I've heard guys describe too, where I think it was Phil Hine talked about something like that once, where taking music. I know he talked about taking words, and it was either him or what was it, Ray? What was it, Ray? I can't think of Ray Sherwin. I think he talked about taking
Yeah,
one of those chaos magicians and taking
he did theater of
words of
magic.
a phrase. Yeah. And just taking words of a phrase and mixing them up and chanting them as they, as they come out of a hat, as you lay them out. And I just thought, oh, that's wild. And just be, even though they're the same words in the phrase you want, just chanting them as they come out, almost Cthulhu-ish.
Yes.
I thought, ooh, that's wild.
Now, plus what you have now with all of the technology stuff, like say if you go ahead and you write your poem, you can put that into an app and it will generate a song for you using that poem that you wrote. And crazy stuff now. Like the amount of just it's toys for regular people, but you look at it as a magician and you're like, holy shit, I can run with this.
Yeah. I personally think
it's
as magicians, we're only like less than a year or two away of AI creating a really powerful magical egregor. And we're like, what the fuck did we just create here? And then it's like an artificial entity created by AI. I mean, I wouldn't put it past us having that in the next couple of years.
The only thing is, the only thing about AI is it doesn't have the soul that we do to generate the, like we can touch the cosmos and this, because we have the spirituality. We have the 5 elements ability, air, earth, fire, and water, and then spirit. AI doesn't have that quite yet. It may have air, earth, fire, and water but it doesn't have quite spirit yet. It needs time, and I don't know. It'll need a body. It'll need time. I don't know if it'll ever have all of that. That's a good question.
Well, like
that's
AI
a good question.
Can create, it can create beautiful works of art, but it can't appreciate it.
Yeah. That's a humanity is, there's a thing. Creativity is in set, to create AI needs something to build creativity from. You and I and Rob can create something out of nothingness. Can AI just come out of nothing and just say, I want to create this? No.
Yeah, it has to be totally.
I don't think it can.
Yeah, it can't do the idea yet.
Right. It has to have an idea for, what's they call the flash of inspiration.
Yeah.
I don't think AI has the flash of inspiration is what was really the term we're looking for, or the phrase we're looking for, Wade or Rob. I think that's the phrase we're looking for, flash of inspiration.
It would be scary if it ever did, even once, because that would be the beginning of endgame.
Oh.
If it could get it once,
yes,
it
you're
will
right.
keep getting it. Which brings me now to the last segment of the show, Moloch.
Sure.
Again, I mean, I've always considered you like one of the George Carlins of occultism. I've always loved your work. I've loved your advocacy. I've loved how you've always expressed yourself so authentically, which is about Occultex, where you, Brother Moloch, teach me and Wade and our viewers when we upload this anything. And you can teach us whatever you'd like. You can teach us a spell, a ritual, summoning, who knows? Or you can teach us how to make a really, really good peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I leave it up to you, but trust me, we've had stuff like that. So with that being said, Brother Moloch, the floor is yours.
Okay. Here's a little Kabbalistic phrase. Let me tell you why Gene used Kabbalah. In World War II, Gene's grandfather, Gene was initiated into voodoo by his grandfather. Okay. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, the grandparent thing is, over and done, but it was true. His grandfather did initiate him into voodoo. And Gene's grandfather was initiated into Kabbalah by a Jew, actually a Jewish rabbi, after World War II, when he was recuperating in Italy. And they were both in Italy in a hospital, and and they liked one another so much because I guess they had so much time to recuperate and they had so much time to talk. Gene's grandfather initiated the rabbi into voodoo. So they shared techniques and stuff. And so he taught him a lot of Kabbalah and vice versa. And when they separated, they kept in contact with one another, would visit one another, and so on and so forth. Well, Gene learned a number of various Kabbalistic phrases and power words over the years, and one of them that he put in his prayer book all over the place in very bold letters that many people ignored, and I don't know, but it was said all over the book, and it's called Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebaot. And it said that you should pray this several times a day. You can say it. Gene used to say that the rabbi would say you should say this before asking God for anything, and say it after you ask God for anything. It is a powerful prayer because it sets the stage. I have used it in many prayers, also magic for sealing spells, to set up a spell. I've used it for psalms. I've used it for just general magic. I've used it prior to doing my Kabbalistic rites. I've used it for doing even voodoo rites. I've used it for many, many occasions. And what it does is it sets the stage to let the spirits know magic is about to be done. It clears the air. It lets all the spirits in the room know something holy is about to happen.
It's like a magical
and you
on
can
switch.
say it. Yes.
So that's
and
Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sabaoth.
yeah, it's a Kadosh, 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 Adonai Sebaot. Sebaot.
Okay.
Adonai Sebaot.
Wow. Epic.
Adonai Sebaot.
Adonai Sebaot. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
Awesome.
going to go into history books. Thank you for that, Moloch. So before
You
we
spell
wrap
it
up,
wrong.
the episode, is there anything upcoming for you, Moloch? Any talks, books, interviews, workshops you're going to be offering you'd like to plug? Or is there anywhere people can still, get to know you better or learn from you while you're still teaching? Or what's going on with you in the next couple of months?
I'm still around. Like I said, I may put my website back up if I can find a free place to put it up.
Mm-hmm.
But thinking about GoDaddy as a minimalist place. But I'll be putting my stuff, probably donating the bulk of my stuff to the Buckland Museum
Mm-hmm.
and the Witchcraft Museum here in Cleveland. Going to be trying to get some of my. I'll be talking probably to you guys with one of my books to get published with you.
That'd be great.
And then down the road, I'll maybe take on a couple of select clients again. But I'm not going to be doing the. Oops, hello.
Yeah, we're here.
I lost you. There we go.
Oh, there you go.
Okay.
You're saying take some select clients and then go on?
Yeah, I might be doing a couple select clients here and there, but I won't be doing the amount of work I used to do. And when I say select, it's going to be very select on what I do. And then because I just don't have the amount of space that I had to work with as I used to, and I don't have all the altars I did, so I can't do as much of the work I used to. And then on top of everything, I don't have the time, and I don't have the privacy as I once did as well. And then other than that, I'm just enjoying life and trying to enjoy life with my granddaughter. Like I said, she's 4, and trying to see that she grows up to be a smart young cookie, and watching the world go by,
You won't
and
be
hope
taking on any.
trying to help.
You won't be taking on any
Huh?
students or offering any lessons in the future, will you?
Doubtful. I got one student right now. Boris is pretty much my sole focus at the time. He's a good kid, and I'm trying to groom him to take over the house. So that's enough as it is. But other than that, it's there's only so much time in a day. Once you get past 60, which I am, I'm well past that now. It's it takes a lot out of you, Rob. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are, but dude, when I got past 50, it was starting to take a lot out of me just to get up in the morning and take care of the cat.
Well,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I'm 44 now. I'm feeling it.
I'm in my 50s, and yeah, there's times that there's some days I'm great. It's like, okay, I'm going to go out, I'm going to work out, I'm going to go for a bike ride and all this. Some days it's like, you know what? Let's just fast forward to tomorrow.
Yeah, it comes with the territory. So, anyhow, Brother Moloch, this has been one of the episodes I've been waiting for the longest time. Thank you very much. We are more than welcome to have you work with you on one of your books to have it distributed
Sure.
through magic.tv. You've been an inspiration to us all. So, that being said, we will see you again in the future. Let me just stop the recording button, but don't go anywhere. We still want to thank you privately. We're hitting the stop. And me and Wade signing off. Good night, everyone. But don't go anywhere, Brother Moloch.